Hello and welcome everyone. This video is to introduce the XER Magic Tool, and it's divided into 4 parts. The first part, introduction. The second part, a very fast summary of the XER Magic Tool features. The third part, what is meant by each feature. And the last part of the video, some examples about how you can use the XER Magic Tool. The first part, introduction. It's my pleasure today to introduce the XER Magic Tool after thousands of the work hours spent in design, programming and testing. This tool that I introduce today is the second tool in the series of the Magic Tools for dealing with the Primavera program. The second part of this video, a very fast summary of the XER Magic Tool features. Since many of you may not have time to listen to the entire video, I will summarize the advantages and the features of the XER Magic Tool in just 2 minutes. But I hope that you can see the rest of the video when you have time to know exactly the benefits of this new tool. Feature number 1. Use this option to convert the Primavera project to an Excel file to update all tables and values as an Excel file. Feature number 2, use this option to convert a group of the Primavera projects in one folder to a group of Excel files in the same folder. Feature number 3, use this option to translate the complicated and unreadable tables of the database to very simple and normal tables. Feature number 4, use this option to collect a group of the Primavera projects into one single file, contains all data of these projects. Feature number 5, use this option to build the Primavera file, which contains all projects included in one Excel file, to import them in one step to Primavera. Feature number 6, part A, use this option to compare the project file after you update it with the original file before updating and get a comparison report. Feature number 6, part B, use this option to compare any two Primavera projects and find any changes between them. Feature number 6, part C, use this option after you update the project file to build the corresponding Primavera file. Feature number 7, use this option to detect the errors in the file when you cannot import it to Primavera. Use the automatic check or the manual check according to the Primavera rules. Part 3 of this video, what is meant by each feature. Feature number 1, you can convert any Primavera project to an Excel file. If the Primavera project has this name, the Excel file will have this name. Select the Primavera file from here and convert it to an Excel file from here. Feature number 2, you can convert any group of the Primavera projects in one folder to a group of the Excel files in the same folder. Select the folder of the Primavera projects from here and convert them to Excel files from here. Feature number 3 is one of the important features of the XER Magic Tool because most of the users don't prefer to deal with the database tables directly because the links between the tables are very difficult to understand, and you need too much time to make these tables readable, but the Magic Tool within a few seconds will translate the entire project tables to their simple meanings, so all tables will be readable and fully understood by all users. This translation includes 3 choices. The first choice is to translate the headers, which means the first row of each table. The headers of the tables may not be understood by all users. For example, these are some of the headers in the Primavera file. After they are translated into their original meanings, as shown in this table, it will be very easy to understand them. The second choice is to translate the foreign and the primary keys, or in a simple meaning, the relationships between the tables of the database. For example, if this is one of the database tables, it will be very difficult to understand, but it becomes better understood after being translated in this way. The third choice is to translate some values in the tables. For example, these values are not clear for all users, but after using the magic tool, we will get these simple and clear values. Another example, this is a part of the task table. It becomes better understood after being translated in this way. Select the Primavera project from here and translate the headers or the ID or the values from these options, and then click translate. Feature number 4, you may see this feature for the first time. If you have some of the Primavera projects in one folder, you will be able to collect all data of these projects in one Excel file, includes all tables of these projects, so you can easily compare the contents. This feature can still be used even if these projects are prepared by different versions of Primavera, or these projects are not from the same database. Select the folder of the Primavera projects and convert it to one single file from this option. Feature number 5, you can convert the Excel file you get in the previous step into a Primavera file, which you can import directly to Primavera instead of importing these projects individually. After you collect the projects file through this option into a single Excel file, you can use this feature to get the corresponding Primavera file, including all of these projects. Feature number 6, after updating the project file by adding or removing or modifying some records, you may need another 3 features in this part of the magic tool. Part A, you may need to compare the updating project file with the original file. When you convert the Primavera file to an Excel file through this option, the magic tool saves a copy of the original file that can be used in the comparison. Select the project file from here and compare it with the original file from here to get the comparison report. Here we have a very important note. When you compare 2 projects, the comparison report may have too much errors, but all of these errors may have no effect on the 2 projects. There are many reasons for that. For example, if the 2 projects are not from the same database, or if the 2 projects are not from the same version of Primavera. After you use the magic tool for some time to compare the Primavera projects, you will know exactly and very fast where are the errors that should be taken into consideration when you compare any 2 files. Feature number 6, part B. This feature can be used to compare any 2 Primavera projects, but you may need to compare the project file before you import it to Primavera with the same project file after you export it from Primavera to discover any differences between the 2 files. Assume that we have a project with this name and you have converted it to an Excel file with this name. On the other hand, you have imported this file into Primavera. It may happen that some records may change because of the previous settings in the database or for any other reasons. In order to discover these changes, you need to export the same project from Primavera, for example, with this name, and then convert it to an Excel file to compare these two projects and get the final comparison report. You can select the project file from here, and you can use this option to compare any two Primavera files. As an important note in this part, if project 1 is equivalent to project 2, or if project 1 is a part of project 2, the comparison report will contain no errors. Feature number 6, part C, you may need to build the Primavera file from the updated Excel file, so you can use this part of the Magic Tool. If the Primavera file has this name and it has been converted to an Excel file with this name, the project file will have this name, and it can be imported directly to the Primavera program. So you will select the project file from here, and you will build the corresponding Primavera file from this option. Feature number 7, the project file may be rejected from Primavera due to certain errors in this file. The XER Magic tool in many cases can test the file and detect these errors, which may be the reason of the project rejecting. The test process is either done automatically or manually. For example, if this is a rejected file, you need to convert it to an Excel file and test it according to the Primavera rules. A final report will be issued with the errors that may be the reason for rejecting it. For the automatic check, use this option, and use this option to apply the Primavera rules and then start to test the file. In the manual check, use this option, and you need to select the tables and the columns by yourself instead of doing that by the XER Magic tool. You will select the manual check from this option and apply the Primavera rules from here, and select the tables and columns from this part of the Magic tool, and then start to test the file to get the final test report. Let us start with the feature number 1. Click here to select one Primavera file. For example, this file. Open, transfer, start. OK, close. Now the project is ready to be updated as an Excel file. All you need to know how to choose the appropriate table to update the project. You will find a summary table in the general sheet explains the usage of each table, or a small description about each table of this file. For example, to update the project activities, use the task table. To update the resource assignments, use the task RSRC table. To add or remove or modify the resources, use the RSRC table. To update the WPS of the project, use the prog WPS table. To modify the activities relationships, use the task spread table. To assign the activity codes, use the task activity table, and so on. Feature number 2. If you have a group of Primavera projects and you want to transfer them to Excel files, you need not to transfer them one by one by this option. All you need to collect them in one folder and use the second option, this option, to transfer them. Click here to select the folder which contains the Primavera files. Let us select this folder, OK, and then transfer, start. OK. The time you need to finish this task depends on the number of the files and the size of each file. You can transfer up to 20 files in each time. Let us see these new files in the folders. As you see, we have 4 files in this folder. This was for the first feature. This is the original file, and you have 2 new Excel files in this folder. It has 4 Primavera files, and now we have 8 Excel files. This was for feature number 1, feature number 2. The third feature, as I have explained, you can translate the complicated database tables to very simple and readable tables. Select the file you need to translate from here. For example, this file, and we will check headers, ID, and values, then translate. You can translate all tables, or you can select some tables from this list. Let us choose all tables, then OK, start. As you see, the Magic Tool started to translate the project, and the results are being displayed. The time depends on the size of the file and the number of its tables. The translation is complete. Close. The Magic Tool will add a new sheet for each sheet you select to translate. The new sheet will have the same name in addition to _T. This is the original table, and this is the translation of it. Let us see some results. This is the task table before translation, and this is after translation. For example, copy these rows, insert them here. Now you can see the difference between the tables before translation and after the translation. As you see, this before translation, after translation. Let us see another example. This table, for example, task activity. As you see, this is before translation, and this after translation. You can see the difference. Copy, and here insert. As you see, this part of the table before translation, and this part after translation. Another example, the block WPS. This after before translation. Let us copy these rows and paste them here. Now you can see the difference before translation and after translation. Before translation, after. As you see, before, after, before translation, after translation. Another example, this table. As you see, these are the quants and the prices of the resources, but the resources, as you see, as numbers, but after translation you can get this column. Insert it here. As you see, this after translation and this before translation. Another example, this sheet. As you see, it has only numbers, but after translation you will get this table. It's very clear to understand. Another example, task plate. The relationships between the activities. As you see, this before translation. Let us copy this part. As you see, this is before translation, this part after translation. The next feature, this option enables you to collect a group of projects in one Excel file. Before you can use this option, you need to transfer all Primavera files to Excel files by using this option or this option. Select the folder that contains the Excel files from here. Let us select the same folder, this folder. OK, and then start. As you see, the Magic Tool started to collect data of all projects, where the contents of each file is displayed one by one. Just it finishes, you will get a summary sheet contains the summary of each file. And a general summary for all projects. Close. This is the summary sheet. These are the 4 projects. As you see, these are the 4 projects: project 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the summary sheet of all of these 4 projects. Let us see how the records are collected with each other. For example, the project table. As you see, these are the data of the 4 projects under each other. Another example, the resource table. As you see, these are the resources of the 4 projects under each other. Another example, the calendar. As you see, these are the calendars of the 4 projects under each other. But where the Magic Tool has saved this summary file, let us see where is the summary file. As you see, this is the summary file. It will be in the same folder of the individual files, and it contains the data of the 4 projects. The next feature, feature number 5, before the Magic Tool removes the summary file from this box, you can use this option to get the equivalent Primavera file. All you need is to click here and choose the general currency of the general file. You can use any currency from these currencies. Okay, and you can use these options where you build the Primavera file. You can exclude the POPs table or the risk type table, or you can assign cost accounts for all resources, or only for the duplicated resource assignments. You can choose from these options. Now start. Now the Magic Tool is transferring the summary file according to the Primavera rules, and after it finishes, it will save another 2 new files. The first file is an Excel file according to the Primavera rules, and the other one Primavera file, which you can import it to Primavera. Close. Let us see where are the new files. As you see, this is the first one, and this is the Primavera file. Now we will use the Primavera file to import the 4 projects into Primavera. This is an empty database. File, import, next, next. This is the folder, and this is our file. Open, next. These are the 4 projects. Next, and finish. As you see, the 4 projects have been imported in one step instead of importing them individually. Let us remove the 4 files to use the same database to test the next features. The next feature, feature number 6, part E. After you update the project file and you need to compare it with the original one, you can use this option. Let us select one file from the list, for example this file, and then start to compare it with the original file. Start. The comparison report is being displayed. Okay. If there are any changes between the 2 files, you can use this filter to get all errors, and use this option to transport these errors to the Excel sheet. Errors, as you see, there are no errors because we haven't changed any data in the Excel file. But let us see how the Magic Tool works. We will make any changes in the file. For example, in the task table, let us change any values. For example, this 100 will be 200, and this 0 will be 10. And let us repeat the comparison. Now we will repeat the comparison. This file, current, first, original, start. Okay, as you see, we have now two errors in the task table. Filter, and you can print them. Close. In the test result sheet, you will get the results. We have two errors in the task sheet. If we check the task table, as you see, you will not only find the errors, but also you will find the opposite values in the second file as comments at the same cells. It's 0 in the second file instead of 10, and here 100 in the second file instead of 200. So it will be very fast to know the difference between the two files. Feature number 6 part 2. You can also compare any two projects by using this second option, which I prefer to use it to compare the project before you import it to Primavera with the same project after you export it from Primavera to discover any changes during the import process. Let us see one example. Let us choose one project. This project, and we will rename it after before. Okay, open and then transfer it to Excel file. Okay, close. Now we will build it again. Okay, close. Now we will use Primavera to import this file. Import, next, next. This file, this is the file before. Open, next, 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 finish. Close. Refresh data for 2 or 3 times. Result 1. Let us close it. And then open it again. And refresh data. Let us export the file. Next, next, next. It will be after. Save. Finish. Close. Now we will transfer it to Excel file. This is the file from Primavera. Open, transfer. Okay, close. As you see in this list, we need the other file before. Open, transfer, start. Okay, close, open the list. Now I can compare the file after I imported to Primavera with the same file before I imported to Primavera to get any differences or changes during the import process. We will select before and then compare it with after. Compare. We can compare some tables or all tables. Let us compare all tables. Okay, start. Errors. As you see, we have only one error in the project table. Let us check this error. Project. Where is the error? This is the error, and this is the value in the second file. As you see, this is add date, and it has no effect on the project. For your knowledge, sometimes it's very useful to compare the project file before you import it to Primavera with the same file after you export it from Primavera to get any changes during the import process. Feature number 6, part C. After you update the project file as an Excel file, you can get the corresponding Primavera file from this option. Let us see how we can use that. For example, we will update this file. Okay, transfer it to Excel. Okay, now I can update this file according to the current records of the projects. After I update this file, I can build it again as in Primavera. This is the file, build, start. Okay, close. Let us see the folder. As you see, this is the original, and this is the Excel file which I have updated, and this is the Primavera file after updating, and this is the original project which I can use to compare with this updating file. Feature number 7. How you can test the project. Let us test one of the project file. Let us choose this file, open, start. Okay, close. Now we have the file here. We will make the automatic check under the Primavera rules. Start. all tables and columns will be tested. Test complete. We search for the errors. We have no errors in the file, and this project can be imported to Primavera without any problems. To know how the magic tool works, if there are any errors in the file, let us change any essential value in the file. For example, in the project table, yes, let us change this number. For example, instead of 8, it will be 9, and let us start to test the file again. Project build, automatic check, all rules of Primavera, start. As you see, it takes time because of this error. Test complete. Now errors. The file may not be imported because of these errors. If you have any problems during the import process, you should check these errors. As you see, we have too many errors because of this change in the file. Print, close. We must prepare the file and search for these errors. On the other hand, we will build the Primavera file from this file which has this error to see if we can import it to Primavera or not. Build, start, okay, close. Now we will try to import it into Primavera. Import, next, next. This is the, we will search for this file. This is the file. Open, next, 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 finish. As you see, we cannot import this file to Primavera because of this error. As you see, the XER Magic Tool can detect the errors which prevent the import process. The last feature, if you prefer to perform this test manual, let us test one of the files, for example this. Click this option to apply the Primavera rules. Manual check. For example, let us check the foreign keys. Select two tables. For example, so let us try with the task table and the task activity. Now we will check the task ID. Start, test is complete. As you see, no errors, close. To know how the magic tool works, if there are any errors, let us change any value in these tables. For example, in the task activity, this is the task activity, we will change any value. For example, this value, let it 9, and now let us repeat the test. the same options. Start. As you see, test complete. We have one error because of this number which we have changed. Errors. Close. This is the error, and you need to correct it. At the end of this video, I hope that the XER Magic Tool can help you to achieve your projects in accurate and professional method. If you have any technical issues or you need any technical support, don't hesitate to contact me. Until I see you in the coming videos with a new member in the Magic Tools family, goodbye and good luck.